Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your hosts of That Startup Show, Benjamin Law and Ray Johnston.
Welcome to the grand finale of Season 2 of That Startup Show.
Looking stunning beside me is Ray Johnston.
And this splendid example of humanity is Benjamin Law.
Now, this Mutual Appreciation Society stops here. Just because we're dressed up doesn't mean we shouldn't test strips off each other.
I do curse you and everything you stand for.
Thank you.
Now, on this glittering night of nights...
Well, it's not necessarily night.
It is night, Ben.
Well, now, as we're taping it, yes, but our audience out there could be watching it at any time. It's the new world, Ray. Either you get with it or you shimmy out of here in that gorgeous gown and head into that deep, dark, whatever time of the day they're watching it is.
Okay, then, I get it. So on this glittering whatever time of the day you're watching it, of whatever time of the day you're watching it, we're going to get down to what startups are really aiming for.
That's right. It's not the dream of millions of dollars, heaven forbid. It's not simply the creating of a new product or even making the world a better place.
No, it's actually all about the awards. Those glittering baubles to festoon your mantle.
Language, Ray. Disgusting. That's no way to describe the Oscars of Aussie startups, the Uniroos.
No, we've already had plenty of ways to describe the Uniroos, as anyone who has watched the series so far would know. Tonight's winner will not only go into our season grand finale with a chance to win huge prizes, but will also take home the coveted prize that proves they are the Australian version of the unicorn, the Uniroo. It's a trophy that doubles as both the paperweight and nightmare fuel.
Part unicorn, part kangaroo, all fire-breathing monster with 400 hit points.
The power of a boxing kangaroo plus the ability to impale. And if you think your kids are painful, try carrying a horned joey around in your pouch all day.
Sure, crossbreeding a roo and a rhino was hard enough, but it was nearly impossible then coating them in gold. But I think you'll agree it was worth the excruciating agony.
Tonight, we don't just have the Startup Oscars to present.
We should probably dampen expectations somewhat. They're more like the Logies or the local under-12 presentation night.
Oh, Ben. We've also got those prizes we've been keeping secret from you all season.
More suspense than Stranger Things, this show.
Now, tonight we have 3 categories, along with the major prize, the Golden Uniroo, all of which have been put through a rigorous selection process from a wide panel of industry judges, including our guests on our panel tonight. The winner of the Golden Uniroo, the Australian version of the Unicorn Company, will win a suite of great prizes. And our 10 finalists are in the running for all of them.
10? Now, I'm no Stephen Hawking, but I thought that 9 weeks times 1 winner per week would come to 1, 2, 3, carry the 7, 9 finalists.
Well, it does, but we've also introduced a wild card.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that card and it is pretty wild.
As well as our best pitchers of the season, we have some of the biggest investors in the country right here in the room.
And down on the floor, we have with us That Startup Show's cult figure, our Lee Lin Chin, our teller of tales. He's overcome enormous adversity to get where he is today, not least having the same name as the country's most powerful and deeply irritating shock jock.
And on this glittery thingy of thingies, he's dressed to invest. Ladies and gentlemen, from M8 Ventures and Blue Chili, please give it up for Alan Jones, the good, polite, not racist investor type one.
Oh, hello, Ray and Ben. I didn't see you there. And I didn't see you founders there either. I've had such a fun time in this series, taking to the land of make-believe where angels grant wishes and wolves are vanquished. And every startup story has a moral. But today it's time for the adults to have some time alone, kids. You see, I've got my serious pants on, And I'm happy to announce that I'm offering myself as one of the prizes. For tonight's Golden Uniroo, that's right, you will have many hours with me, helping you become the Uniroo you know you can be. But it takes a village to raise an entrepreneur, and maybe an accelerator program or two. And I'm lucky enough to have with me tonight Emily from Microsoft for Startups, who has generously donated some of tonight's grand prizes. Emily, can you tell us why Microsoft are for startups and how it might help our lucky grand prize winner tonight?
Yeah, so I guess I want to start by saying that we're really passionate about helping founders. That's our #1 goal. So donating tonight's prize, part of the prize package, the incredible prize package, we really want to work with those founders in our program. So as nice as the cloud credits are, that's just the start of our journey together. So we really want to establish a partnership with these founders. So whether that's something that they need technically as their technical partner, or whether that's a go-to-market challenge or a global expansion piece, that's all things that we work on together.
You're there for them.
Oh, yeah.
That's so heartwarming.
Oh, well, thank you.
You left me as runny as an ice cream on a sunny day. And now back to you, Ray and Ben.
Thanks, Alan. Having you in the room really is a fairy tale come true. Well, it wouldn't be an award ceremony without a cavalcade of guests. Only we don't have movie stars or pop sensations, we have actually important people.
If they're not household names, it's only because most households are looking in the wrong places.
Our first panellist tonight runs one of Australia's top startup accelerators and founded her own startup in her own right, providing affordable, sustainable, high-quality housing. Please welcome the Head of Development and Outreach at StartMate, Jessie Summers.
Jessie, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Our second guest is another venture capital giant, so it's little wonder the investment fund he runs is called Giant Leap. It's Australia's first VC fund 100% devoted to impact investment to make the world a better place. From Impact Investment, please welcome the head of VC, Will Richardson.
Our final panellist once spearheaded the US Department of Commerce private equity and venture capital certified trade missions to the Nordics and Middle East. Now she's helping women get into cryptocurrency and other forms of investing. She also loves a good Burning Man costume. Please welcome the founder of Women Investing in Women, Anu Bardwaj.
Thank you.
So earlier in the season, we found out that the goal of a pitch should be to get a second meeting. So let's say I've done that and you've offered me a second meeting. What should the aim of that meeting be? And is there a magic word I can drop to get you to open your wallet?
So the first meeting is all about selling the vision and making sure that the investor is on the same page as the founder in wanting to achieve that vision. And so if you've got that second meeting, that's incredible, then you're on the same page. And so the second meeting will just be about, okay, we care about the same mission and, you know, we want to see this company succeed. So let's now deep dive into what's going on behind the scenes. You know, what's really going on behind the vision? How much traction do you have? Do I really believe that you're going to execute on that vision? So that's what that second meeting will be about.
Will, what about you? Getting to the second meeting obviously is a great goal in and of itself, but what are the do's and don'ts once you get to that point?
For us, it's really important to focus on getting to a point of commitment. So it's really important to understand that the investor's needs and the criteria that they're looking for, and always seeking to address those needs in the way that they're looking for those sort of solutions. So for us as impact investors, we're looking for impact to be embedded into the businesses. So in terms of do's and don'ts, we're not looking for companies that are investing in alcohol, tobacco, weapons, gambling. Do not come to us with any sorts of businesses that fall into one of those categories, and make sure that you can clearly articulate how your business generates positive social and environmental impact.
How do you feel about it, Anu?
It's really just to gauge alignment. So really making sure both on the founder side as well as on the investor side that you are inherently looking at the same direction of where your company wants to go. You may have a great meeting, but ultimately, what are the expectations, and also, am I able to deliver? And also, is the investor the right fit for me? I want to make sure that's also, I want to be in a long-term relationship with these people. Yeah.
Let's talk about the relationship, Anu. What constitutes the ideal working relationship between a founder and an investor?
From my perspective, it would be stepping in when you're needed, and in terms of an entrepreneur's perspective, and then allowing the founder to execute on what they need to do and giving them enough breathing room and space. And I've been really fortunate. I've played both sides. And as the entrepreneur, I've had outstanding investors who've basically said, I've put my money in you, I believe in you, go and execute, and go as far as you can go, and call as needed. And that's a lot of faith. From the investor standpoint, I have to have complete trust in who I put my money into, that person's going to execute and deliver. And if I have that confidence, I will write the check and let them execute, and I don't ask many questions. So really just giving that window and that opportunity to the entrepreneur, and also having that confidence that your investors believe in you.
Jessie, we've talked about a matter of trust. How do you develop that trust in a relationship between an investor and a founder?
I think it's like any relationship. Like, you start off sort of dancing around each other, maybe meeting for a coffee, and then you start to, go behind the scenes, ask deeper questions. And when the founder has, all of the right things to back it up, then that trust starts to develop. And then you can become, as the investor, their biggest cheerleader, but also you're able to have those open and hard conversations when things are not going super well. So it's super important on both sides to have that trust.
Okay, so Will, what about taking the relationship to the next level? Once money is involved, how does that change the relationship for the better or the worse?
So once money's been invested, trust still plays a pivotal role, and trust needs to be maintained. So for us, it's critical that whenever you say that you'll do something, you do it. It's very simple, to remember for us, but it's really important that there's additional levels of rigour and reporting that are going to be undertaken. And again, tying back to trust, making sure that the board is informed appropriately, being clear and transparent about, as Jessie said, what are the wins, but also what are the losses. And that's really critical, because how can we help our investee companies, how can we help our portfolio companies if we don't know what their needs are?
Yeah, that's fair. Well, thank you for those insights, folks. Now we're going to play a game, and it's called Fund It or Not.
So the idea of this game is we're going to explain how a startup pitched themselves, and you have to buzz in and tell us if you'd fund it or not. And then we'll reveal if your investment nous is actually good or not.
First, we need to test the buzzers. Jessie? Nice. Will? Anu?
Okay.
Perfect.
First pitch for the panel. A company hoping to revolutionise accommodation, selling cereal branded with politicians' faces. Would you fund it or not?
I don't think anyone wants to see politicians' faces every morning when they wake up, so probably not.
Well, it would be a good idea to fund that one, as it was Airbnb, or as they were known in 2008, Air, Bed and Breakfast. Very literal. In the lead up to the 2008 US election, they released 2 cereals for the 2 presidential candidates, Obama O's and Captain McCain's. Each cereal was limited to 500 boxes, but while Obama O's quickly sold out, even at $40 a box, there were over 300 boxes of Captain McCain's left, which Airbnb's founders were able to eat while waiting for accelerated funding.
Nice. Okay, next up. A transport business that hired a hot air balloon to scatter actual money over the top of a city. The only catch is that each note was individually wrapped in a fake note with the founder's face and brand on them. Would you fund it or not?
I think any publicity is good publicity. To build a business, a marketplace like this, you need to burn a lot of cash.
So you'd fund that one?
Yep.
All right. Well, you probably shouldn't fund that one, as we just made it up. It's a ludicrous idea, which for some reason Richard Branson hasn't actually done.
Okay, up next. An app which costs $999 US, whose only purpose is to display a motivational message reading, "I am rich, I deserve it. I am good, healthy and successful. Would you fund it or not, Anu?"
I would fund it.
Okay.
I would fund it.
And it was a real app. So your
it.
success will depend on how much you plowed into it.
Okay.
The app lasted 1 day on the Apple App Store in 2008 and 8 people bought it. Incidentally, the word deserve was spelt incorrectly without the silent E, which on a per character basis means purchasers probably deserved a $17 refund. But which rich person would be so petty? Ray.
No idea. Okay, next up. A business offering a service to ship a potato with a printed message on it. Would you fund it or not?
Not funded.
No.
Not funded.
That's a no?
That's a no.
Look, you could do worse than funding that one. Potato Parcel launched in 2015 and now ships potato-based messages in the US, Canada, the UK, Europe and Australia. They don't recommend the recipient eat the potatoes, however, because that would be ridiculous.
Anyway, that's the end of the game. And the scores are all even at 0-0 because, unfortunately, I lost my pencil.
You're good at this.
And now we have the first of our awards tonight. Anu will announce the results of the Best Newcomer Award.
Startups are disruptors. They are driven by an inspirational, pioneering spirit and a drive to take our world to new places. But starting up is never easy. You have an unwavering faith in your idea, a belief that it will break through even as you see the bills mount. Our first award tonight salutes those who are still near the start of their journey but already showing incredible progress. The Best Newcomer Award for startups that are under 18 months old. The nominees are
Marsha Upward, Iranian.
Those of you who have a eucalyptus leaf, I invite you now to grab that leaf and roll it around. What you hold in your hand is the leaf from a tree that has been here since the beginning of time.
Usman Iftikhar, Catalyzer.
We are a startup accelerator helping refugees and migrants here in Australia to start their own startups. So every year there are about 200,000 migrants, refugees who come to Australia, and over 60% of them are either unemployed or underemployed in the first 5 years. That's a massive issue.
Bobby Oporoka, Value Works.
I'd like to show you why you need to invest in me. Are we ready to party? Let's get it. Yeah, I know I sound like I'm disturbing the peace, but you already know that I come in peace. Cause I get it, I count it. Thanks for listening today, guys.
And the Uniroo goes to Usman Iftikhar.
Thank you very much to the Startup Show for having me and for this amazing award. It will mean a lot to all of our migrantpreneurs who really work hard to start their own startups and are trying to sort of create a better Australia that's really inclusive for everyone. So thank you for having us and thank you for giving us an amazing opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu, and congratulations again to Usman.
Okay, it's time to cross back to the floor where Alan Jones is with another generous prize sponsor.
Hello, founders, I didn't see you there. We talk a lot in the startup world about thinking global from day one, and This is even more the case when we live in Australia, a country a trillion miles away from anywhere. And even though we're just a click away from anybody, a good old face-to-face meeting can make the difference between a deal and, well, no deal. So I'm here now with Prath from Austrade, who's also providing a great prize to help startups expand globally through Austrade's landing pad program. Welcome, Prath. Could you tell us more about the landing pad program?
Thank you. Yeah, so I guess nowadays most successful young companies are startups that are born global. And I think that exposure to global marketplaces helps them refine their product market fit, their business models, gives them access to capital, customers, and talent, which helps them scale and scale rapidly. So that's why Austrade has set up the Landing Pads program in San Francisco, Berlin, Shanghai, Singapore, and Tel Aviv. And it provides founders with a cost-effective option to land and expand into each of those locations.
Thanks, Prath. Well, my body's already on a plane. I'm out of here. But sadly, thanks to my weird job with this startup show, I have to smile and nod and pretend I'm loving it. So back to you, Ray and Ben.
It's time for our next award, which will be presented by Jessie. It's the award for Most Innovative Tech.
Technology is an important part of any startup business. Most of our greatest tech breakthroughs have occurred through startups. In our modern world, technology enables things we one day could have only have dreamed of or thought were pure sci-fi. This category salutes the people who are doing truly innovative things with the possibilities of technology. And the nominees are
Wei Su, Navi Technologies.
Having a baby is usually a happy occasion. Unfortunately, about 10% are born premature. This is why we're creating NeoNav.
Nikki Rosso, Exactech.
So 15% of Australians are over the age of 65. We are living longer and we are aging. This is where this little robot comes into play.
Ben Flavell, Fair Access.
Fair Access holds your place in line, but it requires you to come back once a day and check in at a time that you're choosing. This is your demonstration of commitment. It's like camping out for days at the box office, only you don't need a sleeping bag.
Martin Karafelis, Talita.
$38 billion worth of potential losses are actually sitting there with supermarkets at the moment due to abandoned carts due to long lines. We can cut time from each vegetable right down from 10-15 seconds down to 2 seconds.
And the Uniroo goes to Wei Su for Navi.
Thanks for having me and Navi Medical Technologies here again this evening. My team of co-founders isn't here with me tonight, but obviously huge credits go out to them, but also to the medical community, the startup community here in Melbourne, and last but not least, the University of Melbourne and Melbourne Business School. That's how we were founded. And thanks to the Actuator and Melbourne Accelerator program as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jessie, and congratulations again to Wei. Well deserved.
Okay, let's chat about going from startup to scale up. So folks, what are the signs to look for to tell whether a business is going to be able to successfully scale or not? Will, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, sure. So for me, I sort of think about it in two areas. The first is what sort of product is available? Is the product easily scalable? If it's a software solution, well, there aren't as many limitations as a geographically contained type product that gets sold. The other is around the size of the market opportunity. Is the problem purely located in a small little geographic location, or can it be applied more broadly? So product and distribution to meet the market.
What about you, Anu? When you're looking for scalability, is there almost a checklist that you're following in terms of making sure something can scale properly?
So I'm looking for what kind of partnerships have they formed already in formation, What kind of branding do they have in place? Do they have the right team members in position? Do they have enough advisors, board members? Are they in place? Do we need to recruit more? And also looking at the product itself, like what's coming in the pipeline, like what else do they have?
And Jessie, what about you? Anything that you're looking for specifically?
I think in addition to those things, we look for how good is the founder at hiring, and because it's going to be all about the team around them. Are they good at surrounding themselves with the right team members? And how good are they at letting go a little bit of like doing everything day to day and allowing the right people to put the right processes in place?
Delegation skills. Yes. So what are the big dangers in taking a business from small business to a big corporation?
Ooh, I mean, the danger is that you lose sight of the mission. And then the other danger is, coming back to the first question, is that you can't let go of all of the little things, and you allow the little things to become the big things that at some point, the founders or the exec need to step back and move into the role of supporting their team then to drive that mission.
Is that how you feel as well, Anu?
I'd also look at it from the standpoint of losing the culture within the organization, because when you're small, it's more manageable, and as you start to get bigger, you start to bring on new personalities, and also if you are expanding geographically, then there's a cultural element as well. So just keep that, being mindful, because different cultures operate differently, and you have to take that into perspective always.
How do you feel, Will?
Yeah, I think it's been touched on here, but it's really about communication. When you start out small, you can actually sit in the one room, everyone's around the same table, everyone can be clear on what the vision is, what everyone's trying to achieve on a day-to-day basis. But as a business grows, and especially when you get to tipping points of beyond 12 people or 50 people, it's very hard to keep everyone on the same track. And you've got to ensure that you have the right systems, processes, operational hygiene, so everyone knows exactly where the business is meant to be going and their role that they need to play to help the business succeed.
It sounds like everyone really needs to learn from mistakes, but unfortunately you have to make them yourself sometimes to learn from those. When have you seen it go wrong?
I think, touching on Jessie's point around letting go, often you can have a founder who's wonderful at going from 0 to 1, but not recognising once they get to that point that perhaps they need to hand over to someone else who's better at business as usual, so that they can go away and look at developing new products, entering new markets, really focusing on what they're good at, which is growth.
What about you, Anu? I mean, we talk about errors and mistakes we can learn from. When does that veer into disaster territory?
When ego gets in the way, first and foremost. So at a certain point, you have to know what your limitations are. Also be able to listen to advisors and board members and people that have your best interest at heart, and also continue to talk to the team members and see how they are feeling and whether you're still in alignment. At the beginning, everyone's excited and enthusiastic about where a company's gonna go. But as difficulties emerge, it's really important to keep checking in and see if everyone is still feeling the same way. And if you need to pivot, you need to pivot. And if you need to bring on new blood, you need to bring on new blood, but always making sure that you have the right people around you. And this sometimes becomes difficult when you build these attachments to people that are within the organization, and they might not be helping the organization move forward. It's actually doing the exact opposite, and that's when it's time to cut the cord.
And finally, Jessie, what are some mistakes that you've seen made, and what's a way to address and arrest them?
I think most startups, because they're running so hard and so fast with so little resources, they're always on the brink of disaster. And that's not a sign that they're a bad company or a bad founder. That's just the nature of the way it works. And, and particularly, running out of money. Everyone is always there in the early days. So I think one thing that companies and founders can do very early on is, in addition to listening to their board and surrounding themselves with excellent advisors, is to also surround themselves with other founders who may have actually passed that brink and had something go horribly wrong. And the best way to learn is not only, from your own mistakes, but also from all of the founders who've had startup disasters as well.
Yeah, mistakes can be isolating, but you're never quite completely alone. That's very sage and sober advice. Thank you so much. It's time for our last category award, and here's Will to present the award for Best Scale-Up.
Starting a business is always hard, but it can be even harder to take it global. Knowing how to keep your core idea focused while allowing others to become part of your vision, knowing how to spend capital injections, knowing how your idea can change the world and following it through. This award is for businesses that have been established for more than 18 months, but are taking the leap to the next level. And the nominees are
Patrick Gaskin, Cardley.
We believe that the sensory satisfaction of receiving real physical mail, handwritten physical mail, is undeniable. It's something you open, you touch, and you often keep.
Rosie Thomas, Project Rocket.
Before completing Project Rocket Online, only 49% of young Aussies felt confident enough to stand up to cyberbullying, but after completing the program, that figure rose to 96%. We are measuring ourselves in many different ways, but that is always the big question for a social enterprise.
Andrea Miles, Karen.
The number one most important thing when you're running a business is to know your customers' needs. But what if your customer didn't speak your language all of a sudden?
And the Uniroo goes to Rosie Thomas for Project Rocket.
Well, I'm rightly chuffed to be standing on this podium that I tripped on spectacularly last time I was here to accept this award on behalf of my sister and co-founder Rosie and our team at Project Rocket. When Ro and I started out, we were fresh out of school and we didn't see ourselves represented in business as women, as young women, and definitely not as queer young women. And fast forward to 2018, and Project Rocket's grown into Australia's youth-driven movement against bullying because we want to see a world where kindness and respect thrive over bullying, hate and prejudice. And to be honest, we're old news. It's time for us to pass the torch to the next generation of people who need to see themselves represented, who need to be visible in their communities, leading change, not seeing white fellas like me doing it for them. So this is for the young people that drive the movement. This is for our team. Thank you so much. Thanks to the show.
Thank you, Will, and big congrats to Lucy and Rosie. Well done.
So, what does success mean? Is it important to define what your goals are up front? And is it as simple as achieving those goals? What does our panel think of that?
I think it's incredibly important to define your goals early, because otherwise you can't celebrate when you actually achieve them because you're probably looking towards the next goals. So I think, set some really big goals and then set some achievable goals so that you can celebrate and have that feeling of moving forward. And because everything's so hard, realise that things do move forward very quickly.
But is achieving those goals that you set at the beginning the only way that you can really define success for yourself?
So I actually came up with a mathematical formula.
Oh, I love this.
A long time ago. And the formula goes as follows. Success equals impact over amount lived plus amount learned.
Oh.
So for those of us who've learned a lot, our impact should be substantially higher. And the longer we live, the more we've learned. So in a way, what is your impact? And if you can show me what your impact is, then you've achieved success.
So it's a bit different for everyone.
Yeah, it's different for everyone.
But that's a gauge of success for the startup itself. Is there a different kind of gauge of success between investors and founders in the startup? Are there different measures that you're going by?
Well, I think for some investors, it's calculated on the returns you see and the exits you've had. The formula that I gave you was more for personal, and it's for founder. It's relevant to more founder level. And if your company has had tremendous impact, but let's say it's not hitting certain milestones or whatnot, I don't think it's a failure entirely. I think there was some learning that happened in that process. Investors, on the other hand, if you're not showing returns, it's not viewed as, oh, I've learned something. It's viewed as, I need to have a better return so I can show other investors that I'm returning their money. It depends on what kind of investor as well. It's like those that are taking outside capital, institutional money, or is it people that are investing family money? It depends on the investor.
What about you, Will? Is there a difference in gauging success between founders and investors?
For us, we're looking for missionaries over mercenaries. So we're looking for incredible founders that are driven to make a positive change in this world. So we're looking for commercial, financial returns from our investments. Some will work, some won't. But what we won't compromise on is that the founder has to have a deep connection to the problem they're trying to solve, and that problem, if it's addressed, has a positive social and environmental impact on the world.
So once these businesses have achieved this success, do you think that Australia's tall poppy syndrome is driving entrepreneurs and successful business owners out of the country?
We're seeing a really deep talent pool of incredible founders that are looking to create a positive social and environmental impact. We're actually seeing that these companies that have a really strong mission are talent magnets. Awesome. So, yeah, we think it's a really strong competitive advantage.
Is that something that you're seeing at all?
I think that used to be true, but I think it has significantly changed recently. And just the mere fact that we're here and we have all of this audience who work in or support startups is proof that, founders don't need to move overseas. They don't need to move overseas to find talent anymore, and they certainly don't need to move overseas to find funding anymore. So I think that used to be true, but it's not anymore.
So startups are fixing everything, including tall poppy syndrome in Australia. This is fantastic. I'm really pleased.
And then once you've actually started your startup and you've achieved your checklist of original goals, to what extent is it mandatory for you to then change direction or look towards expanding?
I think at all stages of a startup, you need to pay attention to the customers. So if your customers are telling you something different than what you initially thought, then it's time to pivot. And what I have seen in some of our companies in the past is we are getting to know our customers along the way, and there will be pivots and there will be opportunities to scale. And it's one of these, it's hard to explain. It's intuitive. It's really intuitive. You just have to feel it. Like when something's clicking, you ramp up. And when something's not working, you scale down. So it's almost like cooking a meal in a way. Like you're the chef, and it's like you keep doing it until it tastes good and it feels right. So,
Will, when Anu was talking about intuition, I saw you nodding. Is that something that is innate and inbuilt, or is it something that you can acquire, that sense of intuition?
I think it's something that can be definitely honed. I think it involves actually letting go of a lot of learned behaviours through early childhood years in school and beginning to just trust your judgment. But that comes through a lot of failure. That comes through not listening to your gut instinct and seeing where it goes wrong. So it's something you learn, I think, for the rest of your life.
So speaking of pivoting, let's see where our resident mentor investor is at.
Oh, hello there, founders. I didn't see you there. As another wise man said to me once, all you really need in life is an email address and some hosting credits. And speaking of credits, I'm here right now with Frank from Academy XI, who's supporting startups in many different ways and is here tonight as one of the prize givers for our runners-up. Frank, could you tell us a little bit more about how Academy XI is offering credits to startups and helping them out?
Yeah, of course, Helen. At Academy XI, we work with a lot of startup working professionals and hustlers. And in this case, they can use these credits for any of our courses, from design to emerging tech, marketing, and management. We're more than happy to help them and guide them through their journey.
Well, all this talk of credits, I should also remind the viewers at home that I am the new Li Lin Chin of startups. But I am also a mentor and a real investor in startups. So as one of the prizes for tonight for our Golden Uniroo winner, I'm offering myself. Yes, startups, just one of you is just moments away from having me in your life. A lot. For the rest of you, well, I hope you all live happily ever after. Back to you, Ray.
Thank you, Alan. Well, we are thrilled to bring you the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to find out who's won the prize of prizes, the Golden Uniroo, presented by none other than ours truly.
Now, launching a startup is a lot like making a great movie.
You've got to write a perfect pitch.
Cast the perfect employees.
Direct your entire crew while leaving room for them to use their unique talents.
And move the whole world, possibly to tears, due to your groundbreaking concept.
Or terrify them. I'm looking at you, giant AI surveillance robot drone startup.
The laser eyes were a step too far. Yep.
We've had 27 pitches pass through that startup show this season, and this is the one that our judges felt had the greatest potential to achieve the most significant impact, socially, culturally, or financially.
All 10 pitches who you've seen in the individual categories tonight are nominated for the Golden Uniroo.
And the only purpose of this sentence is to prolong their agony.
And the Golden Uniroo goes to...
La La Land! Sorry, there's been a mistake. The winner of the Golden Uniroo is Martin Karafoulis for Tillita.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I'd just like to thank that startup show and all the sponsors for the prizes. Without you guys, none of us would be here, and it's an amazing platform for startups coming through. And then secondly, I really want to just thank the whole team that we have back in Sydney. Mooney, Chinky, Carl, Marcel, Chris, Mirko. I couldn't think of anything better than going to work and working with the guys and girls that we have in the team and producing something that can actually change the world. So thanks to you guys, and thanks to everyone that came out tonight. Thank you.
We'd like to thank our panel, Will, Anu, Jesse, our off-screen industry judges, Atlanta Daniel, Rachel Newman and Craig Blair, our Alan Jones, all our finalists and participants from throughout the season.
And a big thank you to everyone who's been involved in the show this season. Our funders, founders, sponsors, supporters, mentors, our sleep-deprived producers, our glorious crew, the whole village.
And it takes a village. That's it. That's all from us. We'll see you next year.
Gotta let them know we the ones that run the show. We've been around the block.
here now with Martin from Talia, the winner of tonight's Golden Uniroo, the first Golden Uniroo given away on this startup show. Martin, congratulations. How does it feel?
Thanks for that. It feels absolutely amazing.
And is this an unfamiliar feeling? Have you carried away the meat tray at the raffle before or won another prize?
Yeah, look, the meat tray is probably the closest I've come to winning any prizes, so this is the top spot.
Is this a new feeling? Have you won awards before, or is this different?
We have, but I'm going to be honest, nothing this special.
And so from here, where next? Where do you see Project Rocket in 12 months' time?
Well, we're currently building our young team to be better equipped to be servicing schools all over the country and reaching young people in communities that aren't getting to have these important conversations about engaging with technology like positively and creatively and in a really empowered way. So it's all about rollout for us over the next 12 months.
In the next 12 months, Navi will hopefully be well on our way with clinical trials. As you know, medical devices tend to have a bit of a longer lead time than many other startups in other industries. So if we're in clinical trials, I think we'll be making good progress.
So in the next 12 months, we're expanding all across Australia. So far, we're based in Sydney, and we'll be taking in migrantpreneurs from all across Australia. So we're going to go national.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Alan. Thank you.